Ivan McKee.
Thank you. Sometimes, presiding officer, life deals you a bad hand, and you have to struggle on bravely through the trials and tribulations, putting a brave face on it. And sometimes you have to but admire the tenacity of those who do just that, facing up to adversity and all life can throw at them, turning up for work each day, trying to make the most of it. The Scottish Tory front bench presiding officer finds himself in such a position at the moment, faced as they are with the shambles of Brexit. Remainers, to a man and a woman, they're faced with a situation not of their making, marching in a direction they know is mistaken, to the beat of a drum, irregular at best, often incoherent, in the knowledge that those directing traffic have no idea what is around the next corner, far less how to deal with it. And if that was not bad enough, they're faced with a leadership that sometimes looks like it's deliberately sabotaging their efforts. Being sent to the crease, dare I say, only to find their bat has been broken by the team captain. A Tory party in disarray over Europe presiding officer is nothing new. Promised they were by no less an authority figure than the Secretary of State for Scotland himself that all would be well, that Clause 11 of the EU Withdrawal Bill...
Point of order from Jamie Green.
Excellent.
I thought this debate was around the competency of whether this should be treated as an emergency bill. I haven't heard a single word from the member whether this should be treated as an emergency bill or not. Would you like to come to any point on that at all?
Indeed. Thank Mr Green for the point of order. I have to say, Mr McKee, I was thinking something along the same lines of, would the member please address the central point of the emergency motion? Thank you. Emergency procedure.
I was, of course, addressing myself to the remarks made by Maurice Golden earlier on. So where was I? Clause 11 of the EU Withdrawal Bill would be amended safely in time before leaving the House of Commons, where it was not to be. We now find ourselves in March. The clock is ticking. Commitments made by members of the UK government seem to be of little value. So they troop into the TV studios to defend indefensible, trying to spin their way out of a mess that somebody else has created and continues to create on a daily basis. And so to the specifics of the bill we are debating today. Its intent and its timing. Why is such a bill necessary, and why is it necessary now? In politics, as in life, trust is an essential commodity. In an environment where trust has been built up over time, actors can behave accordingly, cutting some slack, understanding where there is give and where there is take, securing the knowledge that working together to find a common solution is in everyone's interest. But when that trust has been destroyed, possibly deliberately so, then it's no surprise that we find ourselves in this position. When little communication has taken place on the fundamental issues around Brexit and how they will affect Scotland, it is no surprise that considerable doubt exists as to the goodwill and intent to find a solution that protects the Scottish devolution settlement. The Scottish Tories know... Sure.
Neil Findlay.
I don't know, I'm not sure if there's another SNP speaker in this debate, but surely someone on the SNP backbenches has got something to say about the concerns about the scrutiny in this building. Or is it just the case? Or is it just the case that they are whipped so hard that none of them can express any concern ever?
Ivan McKee.
The issue we've got, and I'm coming to address time, is we are where we are because of the actions of the UK government. This bill has got to go through in time, and that is the reality of it, to protect the devolution settlement. The Scottish Tories know fine well, and Mr Findlay knows fine well, the Scottish Government has waited until the last possible date before launching this continuity bill. To leave it any longer would mean that it would not be able to be enacted prior to the passing of the EU Withdrawal Bill, an essential prerequisite for the continuity bill to take effect as intended. In fact, the way the Scottish Tories argue against emergency procedure suggests they know this all too well, but have no desire to see the protections offered by the continuity bill put in place. In summary, presiding officer, this bill is necessary to protect the powers of this Parliament. It is the backstop that provides some protection for us from the Brexit chaos that's consuming the UK government. And the timing of this bill being brought forward now is necessary to ensure that those safeguards are in place in sufficient time. But we should also not lose sight of the bigger picture. By intent or by omission, the actions of the UK government represent a significant threat to the devolution settlement. It's our duty and our responsibility of members of this Scottish Parliament to protect that settlement, and that is what we shall have the opportunity to do over the coming weeks by passing this emergency bill. Thank you.